Okay, hey guys, it's Sean Greeley, and I'm here in LA today. I'm at offices with Jake Steinfield, Body by Jake Global, and we're here for an interview to talk about some things coming up for Mega Training. And Jake was great to have us out for a day for a visit.
Great to see you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys coming here. I'm actually psyched to see you in the fall. We're going to have some fun with everybody and get people excited about their passion, which is fitness. And you know, Sean, I've always said passion leads and everything else follows. You know, if you're passionate about something, it goes far and deep. You know, there's so many people out there, especially today, who are struggling, who don't have a passion and just looking for the short money. Short money, if it comes or not, it's usually short, and it usually ends. But if you're passionate about something, and I know we've been talking a little bit about the fitness business and a lot of the people you deal with and people you talk to on a daily basis who have a passion, whether they're an athlete, or they're a personal trainer now, they're thinking about things that they want to do in this space. It's a great space. It's amazing to see just the explosiveness of fitness. I've been doing this now for 35 years, believe it or not, man. And you know, fitness has always been important, but to have everyone from the President of the United States to Secretary of Education to the CDC, everyone talking about the importance of health, and with childhood obesity, adult obesity, the opportunity for guys like us and guys like you is unbelievable.
It is. It's absolutely amazing, and you've done a tremendous amount, and it keeps on going. But I'd love to jump back and start to your early days, which I think a lot of our folks would love to hear the story about that you share in your book. And talk about when you first came out, that time from New York to LA, your first days here. You came out really with the goal of bodybuilding. That was your dream.
My goal was to become Mr. America. I mean, I'll cut it back even further. I don't want to give everybody too much of the story.
Sure.
Because then it won't come in October. But you know, but I was a fat kid with a bad stutter growing up. My dad bought me a set of weights at 13, and it changed my life. So I immediately wanted to be a bodybuilder because I went from the fat kid who the girls sort of thought was funny, you know. Now you put a little size on, and now everyone's grabbing your arm and going, "Oh, hey, not bad." And you know what happens? You sit up a little bit straight, and
sure,
you start feeling better about yourself. And I wanted to become Mr. America, and never forget telling my mom of what my dream was. I was going to college upstate New York, and made the phone call home and had this conversation with my parents that I'm going to leave college now and going to become a bodybuilder. And obviously it didn't go over too well, you know.
Sure.
But I got here to California and didn't know a soul. I mean, Sean, if I tell you, you know, I talk a lot about change, and you know, change is a very rough thing in people's lives. It's whether it's changing a job or changing a relationship or changing locations. It's hard. And I left New York, where I had a bunch of friends, I had family around me, and I came here not knowing a human being. Actually, my parents had a friend that I actually lived in Northridge, which was in the Valley, and I used to go to the gym. I trained at World Gym on Main Street. I came here in 1977, and got into that whole lifestyle of, you know, being a bodybuilder, being a musclehead, man, you know, bouncing in a bar at night, training in the morning, you know, eating egg whites and chickens. I entered the Mr. Southern California contest. I came in second place. The guy that beat me was on steroids, and straight up story, didn't take him. I mean, I read all the muscle magazines. Everybody said eat 18 eggs and 24 chickens a day, and you too could become Mr. America. I clucked a lot, but you know, I didn't become Mr. America. And let me tell you, I got a plaque that I have somewhere in this office or at my house, probably the size of a business card, that said second place, Mr. Southern California. So I'm looking at it going, I can't even take this plaque to the supermarket to get a chicken. What am I going to do with my life? And I was, you know, I'm a big believer in life's about moments. And I didn't know, because I said, I'm not going to take steroids. I was 18 years old. I'm not going to take steroids because I didn't know what it did. I didn't know what it was going to do. I just assumed that, wait a second, bodybuilding is supposed to be a healthy thing. In my ear, I had my mom going, just come home, go back to college, get it out of your system. In the other ear, I had my friends going, you're a fat bastard anyway, man. You're never going to make it in L.A. You know what? Hey, listen, that's a true story too. How many people that you talk to, or you talk to, that you have a dream and you want to tell people about it, and sometimes it's interesting. It's usually the people closest to you are the ones who shoot it down, and a lot of the reasons is because they think, oh, Shawnee's going to be successful, and I'm not. I'm going to make sure he's not successful by trying to blow up his dream. Think about that for a second. And I heard those voices, and I said, I'm not going back to New York a loser. I'm going to stay in LA for whatever I do. I love fitness. I love what it did for me. I got to stay here. And I did, and fortunately, things
turned out all right.
Things turned out okay.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about how you became a personal trainer. This is really the birth of the personal training industry. Was that time there? Nobody even heard of a personal trainer.
Right.
And how you got into that?
Right place, right time. I was living in Studio City, in the Valley, bouncing in a bar at night, right? Training in the morning. During the day, what does a bodybuilder do? Catch rays. So either I went to the beach in Venice, or I hung out at my apartment complex. The apartment complex that I was living in just so happened to be filled with working actors and actresses, actually a lot more out of work actors and actresses, right?
Yep.
And I'd sit around the pool. I was there most of the day, you know? And there's one, I'll never forget this. One day, this actress who was getting ready to do a Club Med commercial had come up to me and says, you know, Jake, I see you here all the time. She says, I've got a commercial I've got to do, and I got to wear a bikini. And I'm kind of wondering, I need some help. Could you help me put a workout together? Now, I like you, but I don't want to look like you. You know, this was 1980, 81, right? And, you know, I just thought about it for a couple of seconds. I said, yeah, I'm sure I can help you. Now, at that time, Jane Fonda had just come on the scene, that high-impact aerobic stuff, the perception of weight training for women. They're going to get big muscles. So I thought to myself, well, I can figure something out, you know? She said, look, could you come to my boyfriend's house and do the workout there? I said, yeah, sure. She says, how much? How much what? She goes, how much is it going to cost? I go, you're kidding. I said, just give me gas money. You know, I mean, that's it. I have my 1977 white Camaro with Jake 77 on the license plate.
Nice.
Very important. Keep the low profile.
Right.
And she said, oh, okay, fine. So I thought about it for a day, and I said, I'll improvise with a broomstick, you know, twists and things like that, a towel, right, resistance training. You know, psychologically, she wasn't holding 2 5-pound dumbbells. If I'm pulling down on each side of the towel, I'm putting a whole lot more resistance, but psychologically, it's a bath towel. It's not dumbbells. She might have thought it was a dumbbell, but it's not a dumbbell.
Sure.
And a chair for push-ups and those things like that. And I came up with a 30-minute workout. I went to her boyfriend's house, Beverly Hills, ring the doorbell. Now, if you weren't on the cover of Musclehead Digest, I don't know who you were. Guy answers the door, turns out to be Francis Ford Coppola. I just looked at him and I thought, this dude could use a workout too. You know?
Yeah.
I ended up training this gal, her name was Sandy, and she was in pretty good shape to begin with, Sean, by the way. But she just needed a little motivation, a little inspiration, a little sort of pump up that, hey, I look good in a bikini in front of 200 people on a set.
Yeah.
They started going to parties. People started saying, Sandy, you look great. What are you doing? He said, you know, this guy Jake comes to my house. He's got a broomstick, a towel, and a chair. He tells some funny stories. He eats a lot from the fridge after I'm done, you know. Remember, I was a musclehead, man. I saw that opportunity as a free fridge, you know. And they said, that's a great idea. What's his number? And there's a straight up true, Sean. I went from my house in Baldwin, Long Island, to school upstate New York for 3 months, retired, came to California, never listed my phone number. And one thing about Hollywood is if you're good and people want to get a hold of you and they can't, they seem to want you more. And it became this mystique of, who is this guy? You got to get him. And that's when the phone started ringing in my apartment at Studio, my little one-room apartment in Studio City. Steven Spielberg, Harrison Ford, Priscilla Presley, Bette Midler, Warren Beatty, Barbra Streisand, the heads of the studios. It's like, half the time I thought I was getting phony phone calls from my buddies, you know?
Yeah.
And I learned an amazing lesson, man, you know, being able to hang with these people. And that's what did it for me, is like I said, life's about moments. Hanging with these kind of people, I said, man, they're no different than you and me. The only difference is they had a dream, and they never quit on their dream, and never took no for an answer. Gave me all the incentive to say, hey, you know, I might never direct ET2, but I'm going to have my own success in life. And I was able to parlay the famous by association into videos and books and television shows, and had a dream to create a television network. And, you know, listen, what's the worst that happens to you, Sean? Right? If you don't take a shot, you know, you become a legend in your own shower, as I say.
Sure.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
You don't want to end up a legend in your own shower.
Yeah.